fought the rest, now try the best!
When Tekken 8 first came out, Harada did this massive news article where he talked about characters, game modes, and a lot of other ideas that he wants to bring to Tekken. And the reason why I want to revisit this topic is because a lot of these have been lost to time. So I just want to see, one, how many things have been done here, so check it off. But then two, how many things have not been done yet. And then also, will they be done? Because this news article was done by Harada when Tekken 8 was breaking records. It sold 2 million copies faster than Tekken 7, but as we've seen with year 1, Tekken 8 did not reach 3 million copies sold. So they immediately sold 2 million copies, and then they just slowly crawled to 3 million copies. The game was riddled with so many controversies, from mods to stage DLC to characters to balancing. So many blunders year 1, and you would have to imagine that impacted the sales at some point. But also, with impacting the sales, how does that impact the things that Harada wanted to bring to the game and support it, right? So that's what I want to talk about in this video. It says Tekken 8 interview, Harada talks pluggers, in-game shop, and more. Are there plans to expand the fight lounge? Harada says yes, stay tuned for updates. I remember before the game came out, they said they will expand upon it if it is successful. When I go into a lounge, it's packed, so I would consider successful, but I don't have the data that they have. If they don't do it in season 2, the chances of them doing it in season 3 or 4 is very unlikely. Why was Akuma omitted from the lineup? Is it due to licensing issues? Harada says Akuma was never a part of the starting roster, as he originally the character from Tekken, nor is he a default character. I know there is some people who want Akuma to be back just for the sake of like causing chaos. Me personally, I don't want a retrend at all. We already have enough of that with the returning characters like Armor King Miguel, possibly Kunimitsu, Miguel, Bob. Like, let's at least try to make the guest characters new ideas. This one says, why didn't we get a Mokujin type character, or is it part for the future character rollout? So why is there no Mokujin? Harada says during the development stage, we have considered the usage rate and popularities of each character and such, have excluded Mokujin from the current rollout. Users are consistently changing with the times, and we have to adapt to do the same in order to stay relevant. Now, I kind of do agree that Mokujin isn't too necessary. Like, there's way more important things to do instead of Mokujin. Mokujin is a very difficult character because he's basically everyone. You play everyone every round. And yes, that's cool. A lot of people can do it, but there's way more people who can't do it, would probably be confused by it, probably wouldn't even touch it. When you talk about this game having X amount of time to do stuff, spending a lot of time on Mokujin and then worrying about balancing because he has different proportions than the characters he's mimicking, it's just not necessary in my opinion. It will be cool, but not necessary. Any plans on allowing different characters to be displayed on the home screen instead of just Kazuya? So this is something that they talked about doing and is now done, and they want to even push it further and allow you to have customized outfits. I am still saying that they should have it to where you can have it be random. Every time you go to the main menu screen, you see a different character with a random outfit, and it could be randomly generated, it could be just default outfits, but random. It's unnecessary for the player to have to go to the menu and change it manually. Automate the system. Is the development team looking to refine netcode? Harada says the development team is constantly making improvements, not only to the netcode, but also other aspects of the game. You guys comment down below. Let me know if you think the netcode is good for Tekken 8. I was talking to Tekken Underground, and bro was basically saying they could do better. Me, as someone who doesn't really have an eye for netcode and whatnot, I can't really judge it. So you let me know. Is there a chance for Teambattle to make a comeback? Pay attention to what Harada says. That depends if there's a demand for it. We've been conducting user surveys at considerable cost since the offline eras of fighting games. Since the move to online, we've been analyzing all kind of data statistically. While I'm sure that many people have played Teambattle with friends and family, have good memories associated with it, we found that it wasn't played by players as much as the community thinks. The Teambattle mode in Tekken 2 was played the most, but as the series progressed, it became less and less chosen. If the mode were to make a comeback, people might play it nostalgically for the first few times. However, when you looked at the form of perspective of the entire player base, many players will call for different content to be added instead of a mode that is not demanded for. Moreover, in modern age Adding such modes is not as cheap and easy as previously was, and involves significant debugging costs and more. All in all, the demand for Team Battle has been low, and the demand for it had hardly accumulates. Some say on social media sites that they want it, and while they may be anecdotal evidence to support the demand, what is crucial is the quantitative data. As such, we need to direct our efforts where there are more significant demands, as our time, resources, and development budgets are not infinite. We see time and time again that going back to nostalgic old games don't work, whether it be characters or whether it be game modes. Tekken Ball, Tekken Bowling, both were irrelevant in modern Tekken games. I think Team Battle would be pretty popular, but you do have to wonder about the fall off. Will it fall off in a week, in a month, in a year? I don't know. But I do think they should try to incorporate some kind of mode, something to get the players having fun. And I would say, as a team, add some kind of team oriented something. I know Tekken players think it's impossible, but it's only impossible if you tell yourself it's impossible. Is there any chance we'll get Free Fighter as DLC? Harada says characters are the most costly content to develop, but in terms of potential, we might consider further down the road. First, you could start off with saying, if they did do a free character, who would it be? Would it be a Mokujin? Would they give us something more, something greater, like a Katarina, like a Josie, whatever, right? But then also, he says we might consider it further. And this is why I wanted to come back to this news article, because when you talk about Tekken 8 selling incredibly the first month, but then you talk about the game slowing down so hard over the next year, this is an idea that is probably lost to time. And the only way it can be resurrected is if the sales pick up, is if the momentum pick up once again. Are there any plans to add a voice chat in the future online matches? Harada says if there is a high demand for such feature, it might be implemented in the future. However, the development team have to keep in mind that such implementation comes both merits and demerits. Mortal Kombat has voice chat. Tekken 7 had voice chat. You just had to go into the settings and turn it on. The lack of voice chat is missing a crucial part of Tekken. I think you can once again add it to Tekken 8 and just have it in the settings where you turn it on or off. But I think just saying no outright is just bad, because I know everyone thinks about players being toxic, but in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, it was on by default, I believe. And in that game, I played it a lot, and I had very few moments where I was being toxic or someone was being toxic towards me. Like you guys who are all watching this video, would you be toxic if they added voice chat? Because we're the ones who would use it. So what is the majority of players who are the ones causing the problem? Because you will always have bad apples. But is the whole player base rotten? Or is it just some bad apples? And if it is just some bad apples, we shouldn't lose a feature as great as this, the ability to communicate with one another. Are there any plans to penalize pluggers? By this I mean rage quitting or those who plug to escape the loss in their online record. Now at the time, Harada said generally if a disconnection occurs, the disconnection rate will increase. The mechanism of displaying the opponent's disconnection rate before a match, which allows users to decline the match. Nevertheless, we execute significant number of bans soon. That was the initial step, is one, to show that they are plugging, they are disconnecting, but then two, ban them. But now we see next iteration where they're actually taking points away. But then there's also this glitch where if a plugger plugs on the character loading screen, then the game is confused as to who plugged and docks both players. And it is weird that they didn't have this game prepared to deal with plugging at launch, right? You would imagine with it being such a big problem with Tekken 7, Tekken 8, they would have came prepared, but they did not.